everybody. So we're talking more about math and measurement. So we're going to talk a little bit about non-standard units of measurement. In my first video, we talked about inches and feet, and we are just going to be helping them understand that there are a lot of different ways to measure. So the first thing you're going to do is, in the earlier lesson, they made a hand outline and a foot outline. So they're going to cut out their hand and their foot outline. And basically what they're going to do then is they're going to be using their hands as a form of measurement. So we're going to go lengthwise. They're cutting. And they're going to have their hand, okay? And they're going to do the same thing with their feet. And it's going to be a lot smaller than mine. They're going to cut it out. Toes. And all the way around. And what they're going to do is they're going to be practicing using different forms of measurement, not using standard forms, but non-standard forms. So here's the first exercise they're going to do. They're going to do some estimating. This is a really good estimating skill for them to be building. How many of these handprints do you think will fit on this yardstick number line? So they're going to use their hand one. Remember, keep it right on the edge, starting at the lowest number. And this is where you can help them to mark the end with a popsicle stick or some other stick from your sensory kit. And then they mark it and then they continue. So 2, 3, okay? 4, and it looks like mine is basically right to 4.5 hands to make a yardstick, okay? So with the bigger foot, you can have them cut it out and they can measure some bigger things. You can have them measure the table using that same method where they're keeping a mark so that they can continue. 1 foot, making sure they understand the difference. This is their feet. 2, 3, 4. So another great activity is counting by feet, counting by their little feet. And what they're doing is, let's say this is the couch. They're going to be using their feet and they're going to be putting 1 foot right on the edge of the couch, and then they're going to put their next foot touching the toes. 2, touching the toes. 3, 4. How many of their feet does it take to get from one end of the couch to another? How many of their hands does it take for them to get from one piece of furniture to another? So they're starting to measure bigger things using non-standard measures such as hands and feet. Another great tool for measuring and estimating is using your cards. So this is another non-standard unit of measurement. Let's see. How many cards does it take for me to get to the end? You can do it lengthwise or widthwise. How many cards do they think they can estimate? Right? How many cards does it take to get to the end of the yardstick? How many cards does it take to measure the length of a book? 1, 2, almost 3. And how about the width of a book? 1, 2, just about 2. All right, so you can use cards. You can use, one thing you have to remember is that they need to understand that if you're using a non-standard unit, it has to be the same for the entire time. So I'm using cards here, I'm not switching around. You can have them use pennies. How many pennies does it take to measure out one of these tongue depressors? And we're always going to use the same unit. I'm always going to use pennies because I'm not going to be using any other coins because they're a different size. So it has to be the same size. How many pennies does it take to get to the end? Okay? They can even just put it right on top. That's kind of a nice way of doing it. How many pennies does it take to make a tongue depressor? How many toothpicks does it take? How many toothpicks to get to the end of the book? You can use toothpicks. How many more do they think they need? Just 3, 4, right? 3.5. What if we used Q-tips, right? How many Q-tips lined up does it make? How many, even if you're doing something longer, how many popsicle sticks does it take to get to the end? All right? This is really good for estimating. So like, how many in the book, to do the book, the length of the book. Let's see, you can see if they can guess how many. You can also see how many are left once they get down to the bottom. How many more pennies do we need to get to the bottom? Just by looking, they can do these estimations, okay? So this is activities using non-standard units of measurement. For the bigger stuff, they can start to measure the different things in the room, furniture, various things. So it would be 1 of my feet, 2, etc. And walking along, using your feet, one right next to another as you walk up. Okay, so that is activities for non-standard units of measurement. All right, good luck.